The Zilarians were the strongest species in the galaxy. They were tall, with tough skin like armor and muscles that could break steel. Their ships were faster and more powerful than any others. They had conquered many star systems and were proud of their strength. No one dared to fight them. One day, the Zilarian Space Command received a strange signal. It came from near the edge of their territory, from a place where no ships had been seen before. The signal was weak but full of energy. It was different from anything the Zilarians had ever known. Commander Varric stood in front of the big screen in the command center. His eyes were sharp and serious. He looked at the map showing the signal's location. It was a small part of space between two star systems, a dangerous place with many asteroids. "This signal," Varric said, "is coming from an unknown ship. It is not in any of our star charts. No one knows who owns it." His officers looked at each other. Some were curious, some were worried. "Could it be a trap?" asked one officer. "Maybe," Varric replied, "but we must find out. We cannot ignore something so powerful and unknown near our borders." The Council of Zilarian leaders agreed to send a team to investigate. They chose the best warriors and scientists to go on this mission. Among them was Captain Lyra, a brave and smart leader. She had fought many battles and won. The team prepared their ship, the Starhawk, for the journey. It was a fast ship with strong weapons, but they hoped they would not need to fight. They wanted to learn about this strange ship first. The Starhawk left the space station and flew toward the signal. As they got closer, the crew could see the ship drifting quietly in space. It was huge, but covered in dark metal that reflected very little light. It looked old and worn, but still strong. Captain Lyra ordered the ship to scan the unknown vessel. "Shields are active," the science officer said. "But the energy type is new. It's like nothing in our database." Suddenly, the ship's sensors showed a strange field around the vessel. It was like an invisible wall that changed shape and strength. It made it hard to send signals or get close. "Whatever this ship is," Lyra said, "it is protected. We need to be careful." The Starhawk moved slowly, trying to find a safe way to board the ship. The Zilarian team prepared their suits and weapons. They knew this mission was dangerous. When they were close enough, Lyra and her team used a small shuttle to get inside the ship through a hidden airlock. The door opened slowly, with a quiet hiss. Inside, the ship was dark and cold. Strange lights flickered on the walls and the air smelled like metal and dust. The corridors were wide but empty. No sounds came from anywhere. "Keep your eyes open," Lyra said. "We do not know what or who is here." The team moved carefully through the ship. They found rooms filled with unknown machines. Some machines were silent, others still hummed softly. The science officer ran, touched a panel, and the lights brightened. Symbols appeared on the walls, symbols none of the Zilarians recognized. "These markings are very old," Rand said, "but also very advanced. This technology is not from any known race." They reached the ship's control room. It was huge and full of screens and controls, but none of it worked. The team tried to turn on the systems, but the ship resisted. Suddenly, alarms sounded all over the ship. The Zilarians saw a wall of energy rise in front of them, blocking the way back. "This ship is not abandoned," Lyra said. "It is alive in some way. We have triggered its defenses." The team had no choice but to keep moving forward. They wanted to find the core of the ship, hoping to understand its power. As they walked deeper, the ship seemed to change. The walls moved slightly, and the air grew warmer. The energy field around them pulsed like a heartbeat. Then they reached a large chamber with a glowing sphere in the center. The sphere was the size of a small moon and shimmered with colors that shifted and flowed. Ran approached carefully. "This must be the power source," he said, "but it is unlike any energy I have seen." The sphere began to speak, not with words but with images and feelings. The team saw visions of great battles, of stars exploding, and of a time long before the Zilarians. "It is showing us its history," Lyra said. "This ship was built by an ancient and powerful species. They used it to control space itself. The sphere's power was clear. It could bend space and time, making the ship nearly unstoppable. But with great power came great danger. The sphere warned of a terrible price if the ship was used carelessly. It could destroy whole star systems in an instant. Lyra realized the II ship was a weapon but also a key to great knowledge. The question was, who had left it here and why? As the team prepared to return to the Starhawk, they knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy's strongest species had found something powerful and dangerous. They must learn to control it before others did. But time was running out. The signal they detected was a beacon, one that could bring enemies from across the stars. The adventure had just begun. The Starhawk waited in orbit around the strange ship, its crew full of questions and caution. Captain Lyra stood on the bridge, her face calm, but her mind racing. The glowing sphere, the ship's power core, still filled her thoughts. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. The ship was more than a weapon. It was a puzzle, an enigma. The rest of the crew was uneasy. Some wanted to leave, afraid of what they might find inside. Others were excited, eager to unlock the secrets of this powerful vessel. Commander Varric sent a message from the Zalarian Council. You must learn everything you can. This ship's power could change the balance of the galaxy. But be careful. Many dangers await. Lyra nodded. We understand, Commander. We will proceed with caution. She gathered her team in the briefing room. We need to explore the ship carefully. The defenses are still active, and the ship's systems are strange. We don't know what will happen next. The science officer, Rand, spoke up. I've studied the energy patterns. The ship's defenses seem to react to our movements. It adapts quickly. We need to find the ship's control center, Lyra said. If we can access it, maybe we can learn how to control or at least communicate with the ship. The next day, Lyra and a small team boarded the ship again, this time with better equipment. They wore advanced suits that could protect them from energy shocks and unknown gases. Their weapons were ready, but kept holstered. They hoped for no fight. They entered, the ship seemed quiet, almost peaceful. But the crew knew better. The energy walls and moving corridors were a warning. They were not welcome guests. The corridor lights flickered as the team moved forward. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing in rhythm with the ship's heartbeat. Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted. Panels moved aside and a hidden passage opened. The team was surprised but pressed on. Stay alert, Lyra said. This ship is changing to keep us inside. They followed the passage into a vast chamber filled with strange machines. Some were covered in dust, others hummed with low energy. The air smelled metallic, cold and sharp. Rand examined one device closely. This looks like a navigation system, but it's unlike any technology I've seen. The circuits are alive, almost organic. The team moved deeper, reaching a room full of floating holograms. They showed stars, galaxies, and strange shapes moving through space. It was a cosmic map, but not one any species in the galaxy recognized. This ship has traveled far, said Rand. Far beyond our galaxy, maybe even beyond time as we know it. Lyra's mind raced. If the ship could travel through space and time, it was no ordinary vessel. It could be a threat or the greatest tool ever found. Suddenly, the ship's power core, the glowing sphere, began to pulse faster. The walls around them shimmered with energy. The ship was reacting to their presence. We must be close to the core, Lyra said. Let's move carefully. The team entered a large circular room. At the center floated the sphere, glowing, brighter than before. Its colors shifted through every shade of the rainbow and it seemed alive. Rand moved forward again, reaching out with a special device. The device connected to the sphere, and images flooded their minds. Visions of ancient battles, cosmic storms, and civilizations rising and falling. The sphere showed them how it could bend space and time, creating portals and slowing or speeding up events. It was a weapon and a protector, able to control the very fabric of reality. But the sphere also showed warnings. If used wrongly, it could cause disasters beyond imagining, destroying entire star systems in moments. Lyra looked at her team. This power is incredible but dangerous. We must learn to control it, or keep it safe from those who would use it for harm. Suddenly, the ship's defense systems activated. Energy walls rose to block their path. The floor shook, and alarms blared through the corridors. "Prepare for a fight," Lyra shouted. "We are not alone here." From the shadows, robotic sentries appeared. They were tall and strong, made of metal and glowing with the same energy as the ship. Their movements were quick and precise. The team took cover and fired their weapons. The sentries blocked attacks with energy shields and countered with powerful strikes. The fight was intense. The Zalarians were strong and skilled, but the sentries were relentless, and the ship itself seemed to help them, changing the battlefield to its advantage. Lyra ordered a retreat toward the core chamber. "We need to protect the sphere. If the ship loses control, it could destroy us all." The team fought their way back, covering each other. Ran focused on the sphere, trying to keep the connection open, hoping to calm the ship's defenses. Slowly, the sphere's pulsing slowed, and the sentries faltered. The ship's energy shifted from attack to defense, as if the core itself was negotiating with the crew. Lyra realized the ship was sentient. It was alive and making choices. It was deciding whether the Zalarians were friend or foe. "We must prove our intentions," she said. "This ship needs to trust us." The team lowered their weapons and moved carefully. Lyra spoke aloud, hoping the ship could hear her. "We come in peace. We want to learn and protect. Help us understand you." The sphere's colors changed, becoming calm and steady. Images of peace, cooperation, and hope filled the room. The ship's defenses retracted and the energy walls disappeared. The sentries powered down, becoming lifeless once more. Lyra smiled. "We made a connection. This ship may become our greatest ally, or our greatest challenge." The team returned to the Starhawk, bringing back data and samples. The ship's power was both a mystery and a promise. As they left orbit, the signal from the ship changed. It became a beacon, sending a message to the galaxy. Far away, other species received the signal and prepared to respond. The galaxy was about to change forever. After the team returned to the Starhawk, the mood on board was tense but hopeful. Captain Lyra and her crew had barely escaped the ship's defenses, but now they understood that the ship was alive. More than that, it was powerful beyond anything they had ever imagined. The glowing sphere, the ship's power core, had shown them visions of its strength. It could control space and time, bending reality itself. This was not just a weapon. It was a tool from a lost civilization that had mastered the universe in ways no one else had. Lyra stood in the command room, looking at the data screens. Scientists were working fast, decoding the ship's signals and studying the core's energy patterns. Ran approached her holding a small device. "Captain, the ship's core is more than just power. It's intelligent, it thinks and learns, it can communicate in ways we don't yet understand." Lyra nodded. "We need to find a way to talk to it, to learn from it without angering it." Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected movement near their position. "Captain, unknown vessels approaching fast," the radar officer said. "They're not Salarian. They are coming in weapons ready." Lyra's heart beat faster. Enemies. They must have detected the beacon. The galaxy's strongest species was not the only one interested in the dangerous ship. Others wanted its power, and they were coming to take it by force. Lyra ordered the Starhawk to prepare for battle. Shields up, weapons ready. The crew moved with speed and discipline. The enemy ships appeared on the radar. They were sleek and fast, with sharp edges and bright lights. The ships belonged to the Krath, a warrior race known for their cruelty and hunger for conquest. The Krath did not hesitate. They fired first, launching energy blasts toward the Starhawk. The battle was fierce. The Zalarians used all their strength and skill to defend their ship. The Starhawk's weapons fired back, hitting enemy ships with precision. But the Krath had numbers and technology on their side. Slowly, they pushed the Zalarians back. Inside the Starhawk, Lyra watched the fight unfold. She knew that if they lost, the powerful ship and its core would fall into the wrong hands. Desperate, she made a bold decision. "Prepare a boarding party," she said. "We will go back to the ship, the one we found, and try to use its power against the attackers. Some officers looked shocked. "Captain, it is too dangerous," said one. "We barely escaped last time." "But if we don't act now," Lyra replied, "the ship will be lost. We must try." The boarding party gathered. They took special weapons and new devices designed to communicate with the ship's core. The Starhawk moved close to the mysterious vessel. The ship's defenses were still active but weaker now, as if it remembered the Zalarians. Lyra led the team inside. The corridors were dark and quiet, but this time the ship did not attack. They moved quickly to the power core chamber. The sphere glowed softly, welcoming them. Rand connected the communication device again. The core responded with images and feelings telling them of an ancient war. It showed a mighty race, the creators of the ship, who had built it to defend the galaxy from a terrible threat. But the creators were gone, lost to time. The ship had been waiting for a worthy species to use its power again. Lyra realized the ship was testing them, seeing if they could handle the responsibility. Suddenly, the sphere's light grew bright. Energy flowed through the ship, awakening it fully. The Zalarians felt the power surge around them. The ship's walls seemed to move with purpose, and the stars outside bent in strange ways. Lyra raised her hand. "Core, help us protect the galaxy. Give us strength." The sphere responded by creating a shield around the Starhawk, a powerful force field that blocked the Krath's attacks. The enemy ships fired again and again, but their weapons could not penetrate the shield. The tide of battle changed. The Zalarians pushed forward, forcing the Krath to retreat. Back on the Starhawk, cheers filled the halls. The crew had won because of the power of the ancient ship. But Lyra knew this was only the beginning. The ship's power was immense, but still, not fully understood. It could be a gift or a curse. Other races in the galaxy would come for it, and the Zalarians had to learn to control it or risk destroying themselves. Lyra looked at the glowing sphere one last time before leaving the ship. "We will protect you," she promised. "Together we will change the future." Captain Lyra sat quietly in the command room of the Starhawk. The ship hummed softly around her, but her mind was full of worries. The ancient ship and its powerful core were now under Zalarian control, but the galaxy was far from safe. The Krath. Attack was only the beginning. The signal the mysterious ship sent out, the beacon, was reaching far corners of the galaxy. Powerful species and warlords were listening. Some were curious, others were hungry for power. All wanted to know what the Zalarians had found. Commander Varric called a meeting of the Zalarian Council. Leaders from every part of their empire gathered to discuss the threat. The ship's power could change the balance of power in the galaxy, Varric said. If it falls into the wrong hands, it will mean destruction for many worlds. A council elder, an old and wise Zalarian named Thax, nodded slowly. "We have awakened something ancient and dangerous. The ship's energy can destroy star systems if not handled properly. This is not a tool for war. It is a force of nature." Lyra listened carefully. She knew Thax was right. The power was too great for any one species to control easily. Suddenly, a message arrived. It was encrypted and sent from an unknown source. The council gathered around the screen as the message decrypted itself. A hologram appeared, an alien face with sharp eyes and cold features. "I am General Kavarn of the Zorath Dominion," the figure said. "We have received your signal and learned of the powerful ship. Surrender it to us, or face the consequences." The room grew silent. The Zorath were a ruthless empire, known for conquering worlds without mercy. They were feared across many star systems. Lyra stood. "We will never give up the ship. Its power is too important. We will defend it with our lives." Varric nodded. "Prepare the fleet. We must be ready for war." Meanwhile, on the Starhawk, the crew worked day and night. Scientists studied the ship's core, trying to understand its energy. Warriors trained harder than ever, preparing for the coming battles. Rand had been speaking with the core more often now. He believed the ship was learning from them as much as they learned from it. One evening, while alone in the power chamber, Rand reached out to the sphere. Images flooded his mind, visions of the ancient race that built the ship. He saw their home world, bright and beautiful, filled with knowledge and peace. Then he saw their downfall, enemies from beyond the stars who used dark technology to destroy everything. The ship's core had been their last hope, a final defense, to protect the galaxy from destruction. Ran realized the ship was not just a weapon, it was a guardian. He rushed to find Lyra. "Captain, the ship's power is meant to protect life, not to conquer or destroy. We must use it carefully." Lyra agreed. "We will protect the galaxy, not just ourselves." Days passed and the Zilarian fleet prepared for battle. Scouts reported that the Zorath forces were gathering near a nearby star system. The tension grew. Everyone knew a war was coming. On the day of the battle, the Starhawk led the fleet into the dark space near the star system. The enemy ships appeared, like shadows dark and menacing. The fight began with a roar of energy weapons and explosions. The Zorath ships attacked fiercely, trying to break the Zilarian lines. But the Starhawk used the ancient ship's power to create shields that blocked entire squadrons of enemy fire. Lyra commanded from the bridge, her voice calm but strong. "Focus on protecting the fleet. Use the power core's energy wisely." The battle was long and brutal. Ships were lost on both sides, but the Zilarians held their ground. In the middle of the fight, a massive Zorath battleship broke through the lines and headed straight for the Starhawk. Lyra ordered the ship's defenses to full power. The power core responded, sending out a wave of energy that pushed the battleship back, but the Zorath were not done. They activated a weapon that threatened to collapse space-time itself, a weapon that could destroy entire fleets in an instant. Lyra knew they had to act fast. She sent a team to board the enemy ship and stop the weapon. The team fought their way inside the battleship, facing fierce resistance. But with the help of the ancient ship's power, they succeeded in destroying the weapon just before it could fire. The Zorath fleet retreated, defeated but not destroyed. Back on the Starhawk, the crew celebrated their victory but remained cautious. The ship's core pulsed gently, as if warning them of future dangers. Lyra looked out at the stars and thought, "This power is a blessing and a curse. We must be wise enough to use it well, or it will destroy us all." The galaxy was changing, and the Zilarians were at the center of it all. Their greatest challenge was just beginning. The galaxy was filled with tension. The Zilarians had the powerful ancient ship, and word had spread across star systems. Many races were preparing to take it by force. The Zorath had been pushed back, but they were only one threat among many. "Captain." Lyra and her crew on the Starhawk were exhausted but determined. They studied the ship's core every day, learning more about its incredible power. Yet, controlling it remained difficult. The core was intelligent, but it spoke in riddles and visions that were hard to understand. One day, a new signal appeared on the Starhawk's scanners. It was unlike any they had seen before, a human ship. Humans were known across the galaxy for their unexpected courage and cleverness. They were not as physically strong as the Zilarians or as technologically advanced as some others, but they had something unique, the ability to adapt quickly and solve problems in creative ways. Captain Lyra ordered the human ship to be allowed to dock. The human crew was small but confident. Their leader, Commander Sarah Quinn, stepped onto the Starhawk's bridge. "Captain Lyra," she said with a calm smile, "we received your beacon and came to help." Lyra was cautious but curious. "Why do you want to help? This power is dangerous." Sarah nodded. "We know it's dangerous, but we also know that sometimes power needs a different kind of understanding. Humans see problems differently. Maybe we can learn together." The two captains agreed to work as one team. The humans shared their own technology, which was surprisingly effective at interfacing with the ancient ship's core. Ran and the human science officer, Dr. Miller, worked side by side, studying the core's energy patterns. Slowly, they began to communicate better with the ship. The core responded to the humans in ways it never had before. It shared more knowledge, how to control the energy without causing destruction, how to protect space-time from collapsing. 1. During a test, the core created a small portal, a window through space and time. The humans were amazed. "This is beyond anything we imagined," Dr. Miller said. "With this, we can travel instantly across galaxies, or even see into the past and future." But the core also warned of risks. Misuse could cause tears in the fabric of space-time, leading to chaos. Lyra realized that with the humans' help, they could handle the power safely. She trusted their creativity and adaptability. Meanwhile, the galaxy's dangers did not wait. The Zorath and other warlike races were gathering more forces. A new threat emerged, the Valari, a species of hunters who specialized in capturing powerful technology. The Zalarian and human alliance prepared for what might come. They upgraded the Starhawk with new defenses and trained together. One night, as the crew rested, the core suddenly pulsed with urgent energy. A warning flashed on the ship's systems. "Enemy ships approaching fast," the radar officer said. "The Valari fleet is here." The Valari ships moved like shadows, silent, but deadly. They attacked with precision, trying to disable the Starhawk without triggering the core's full power. The battle was fierce. Humans and Zalarians fought side by side, combining strength and clever tactics. Using the core's power, Lyra created a protective shield that moved with the ship, blocking attacks. Commander Sarah Quinn led a team to board one of the Valari ships, disabling its weapons and forcing the enemy to retreat. After the fight, the crews gathered to recover. They knew more challenges were coming. Lyra looked at Sarah. "Your people's help has changed everything. We are stronger together," Sarah smiled. "Together we can protect the galaxy and this power from those who would use it to destroy." The ancient ship, once a dangerous mystery, was now a symbol of hope. Humans and Zalarians had formed a new alliance, one that could face any threat. But the core's power was still growing, still unpredictable. The future was uncertain. Lyra and Sarah stood on the bridge, watching the stars. "We have a long journey ahead," Lyra said. Sarah nodded. "But we will face it together." The galaxy was no longer the same. The once mysterious ship, now called the Eternus, floated proudly alongside the Starhawk, a symbol of power and hope. Captain Lyra and Commander Sarah Quinn stood side by side on the bridge of the Starhawk, watching the stars move past. They had come a long way from the first time they discovered the ancient vessel drifting near the Zalarian border. The Eternus's power had been dangerous, unpredictable, and feared. But through courage, trust, and cooperation, they had learned to control it. The alliance between the Zalarians and humans was stronger than ever. Together, they had stopped enemies who wished to take the Eternus by force. The Krath and the Valari had retreated, and the Zorath were regrouping, careful to avoid another confrontation. But the true test was still ahead. A new threat was rising beyond the edges of known space, a dark force called the Voidborn. They were shadowy beings who could corrupt technology and life itself. The Voidborn sought the Eternus's power to bend the universe to their will. One morning, sensors on the Starhawk detected an unusual energy signature. It was a creeping darkness moving like a wave through space toward the Eternus. Captain Lyra gathered her crew. "The Voidborn are coming. They want the power of the Eternus. We cannot let them win." Commander Sarah stepped forward. "Our alliance has faced many dangers. This one will be the hardest. But we have the strength of two great species, and the power of the Eternus." The Starhawk and the Eternus moved to intercept the dark wave. As they approached, the ship's power core pulsed with energy, sensing the threat. The Voidborn appeared, as swirling shadows, twisting and reaching like living smoke. They attacked the ship's systems, trying to disable weapons and shields, but the ancient ship's core fought back. It sent waves of energy that cleared the darkness, protecting the ships. The battle was fierce and unlike any other. The Voidborn's power was strange and dangerous. They could corrupt machines, turning them against their owners. Lyra and Sarah worked closely, coordinating their crews. Humans and Zalarians used their combined skills and knowledge to keep the ships alive. Ran and Dr. Miller focused on the Eternus's core, finding ways to strengthen its defenses and fight the Voidborn's corruption. Slowly, The darkness began to retreat, pushed back by the light and energy of the ancient ship. In the final moments of the battle, the Eternus created a massive burst of energy that pushed the Voidborn far away. The galaxy was safe for now. The crews cheered, but everyone knew this was only the beginning of a long struggle. After the battle, Lyra and Sarah stood on the bridge, tired but proud. "We have shown the galaxy what is possible," Lyra said. "Not just strength, but wisdom and unity." Sarah smiled. "The Eternus is more than a weapon. It is a promise that we will protect life and freedom." The two captains looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but together they were ready. A new era had begun, one of hope, courage, and cooperation. The Eternus and its guardians would stand watch over the galaxy, a beacon of light in the dark.